This is the last one, the last in chapter 42. So other inhibitors of cell wall synthesis. The prototype is called vancomycin. It's for PO and IV and rectal use. And in the story, this is going to be represented by van, like a van, moving van. And then azithromycin for IV is another drug that is not prototype for IV and IM. It's going to be represented by AZ Arizona trees. And another drug, fosfomycin for PO. This is going to be represented with Fox and telavancin. Which is going to be represented by like television. So the story is called In My Traveling Van with My Fox. After seeing a traveling van on television, I bought it. I bought the van and drove it through the Arizona trees with my Fox. It's because I used to live in Arizona. So vancomycin, a van, which is for rectal IV prototype, telavancin, television, and azithromycin, AZ trees, and fosfomycin. So these are the drugs in, this other inhibitors of cell wall synthesis. And the rain came and destroyed the walls. I was in the van, was my traveling like RV, and the rain came and destroyed the walls. So I had to call the city from my staff and representatives for help because my walls of the van is destroyed. So this is talking about a pharmacological action. These antibiotics, telavancin, azithromycin, whatever, they destroy bacterial cell walls. So it's pharmacological action. And therapeutic use treats antibiotic associated pseudomembranous colitis due to C. diff. So C. diff is represented by the city. When we call the city, whatever is it? So I had to call the city for my staff and representative city, C. diff, city. And it also therapeutic use treats infections. So these 4 drugs, infections due to methicillin resistant staph, right? Call my staph. Staphylococcus aureus, staphylo whatever coccus. So anything staph, that's therapeutic use. And staph something, epidermidis, and streptococcal infections. Also this one, these are both staph, but this is not staph. This is streptococcal. So that's why I had to call the city for my staff and streptococcal representatives for help. Okay, and the rainstorm that destroyed the walls, the thunder almost made me deaf. It was so loud and threw me for a loop. I almost cried. So that's talking about adverse effects and interactions. Risk, there's a risk for ototoxicity because you're deaf, right? When you're taking vancomycin with loop diuretics. So this is intervention. When you take vancomycin particularly, not telavancin or whatever the other drugs, but vancomycin with loop diuretics like furosemide or whatever, or ethacrynic acid, and aminoglycosides. So this is all talking about interactions. The thunder almost made me deaf and threw me for a loop. Is aminoglycoside. Aminoglycoside. And I almost cried is ethacrynic acid. So you have a risk for ototoxicity, which is an adverse effect by itself, but it's an interaction also if you mix vancomycin with furosemide, whatever, torsemide, and then this drug, ethacrynic, I almost cried, and I almost cried, aminoglycoside. So this is interaction. And then, but my fox couldn't be bothered. My fox, I had a pet, right? Whatever, who's traveling companion, fox, couldn't be bothered. You know how cats, like foxes, they're like super catty. They don't even care. So there's just, all this stuff is happening, but my fox couldn't be bothered. She's just sitting on her throne, like she's a king or something. So I'm telling you, we go through much routinely, me and my fox, but still she's really toxic. She's so mean. So adverse effects is thrombophlebitis for like sitting on her throne. Thrombophlebitis with IM and IV injection. I didn't even have to write this, right? Because this is phlebitis. This is all like IV stuff. So you want to dilute the medication, rotate injection sites, monitor for redness, swelling, inflammation. I think this is all the stuff that we already know. And another adverse effect in this sentence is renal toxicity. Renal toxicity, because my fox sitting on her throne is like, we go through a lot routinely together, but she's really toxic. So renal, she's really toxic. Renal toxicity is another adverse effect. So 3 adverse effects so far: ototoxicity, thrombophlebitis, and renal toxicity. So for this, you want to monitor INO, kidney function. And here, vancomycin trough levels. Monitor that one. We need to monitor that one because it could go to renal failure. It's just toxicity. And then if we don't monitor vancomycin trough levels, it could go to renal failure. So administration point is monitor vancomycin trough levels routinely. That's why it's, I'm telling you, we go through is representing trough, through, like trough, because they look alike. We go through much routinely. So you want to monitor your vancomycin levels routinely after blood levels are steady. The story continues. I was so mad. My face rapidly, because my fox couldn't be bothered. I'm like turning deaf and dying here, but I was so mad. My face rapidly turned red and I reacted furiously. It's talking about an adverse effect. Infusion reaction. Furiously is infusion. Reactions is reacting. So infusion reactions, which are red man syndrome related to rapid infusion, which are rashes, itching, flushing, tachycardia, and hypotension. Yeah, infusion reactions, red man, right? I turned red. Okay, so the red man syndrome happens because you infuse the thing too rapidly. So afterwards, I felt bad and said, I will drive my van slower next time, keeping the speed limit to 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour. It's an administration point. Administer vancomycin. I'm going to drive my van slower next time. So administer vancomycin slowly over 60 minutes. I'm going to keep the speed limit to 60 miles per hour. 60 minute. I think this has to do with the infusion reaction. I have to check again. But anyway, yep, that's it. I hope this stuff is helping. I know it's like super long, but yeah.